Hey there everybody, this is Mike, this is LoadF Media, and today I want to talk about cameras in the sense that we all buy cameras, and when I say we, I mean the people who, like you and me, watch YouTube, create content. We all go out and buy cameras. But there's some observations that I made when it comes to not only what we buy, how we buy them, but how they're advertised to us. And so that's what I'd like to talk to you about today. And we're going to get into that in just a minute. But full transparency. See, this is the second time I've recorded this video because the first time I recorded this video, two things happened. One, I had a I had a wired microphone right here. This is my F-Deuce SL40. Had that here in the shot. I have the autofocus on, had the box on my face, and so I was assuming that it was focused on me, not the microphone. That's foreshadowing. Secondly, when I go back to play the video, I recorded it. I'm going back to start the edit process. I noticed two things. One, I'm not in focus. That microphone is in gray focus. I am not. Secondly, I did not check my frame rates from the last time I used the camera, and I do remember the last time I used the camera, I was taking some slow motion video. This particular camera shoots 1080p, 120 frames per second, and I was taking some video in the backyard for B-roll, and didn't have my glasses on. I pressed play or record, didn't look at the frame rate. I just saw 1080p and I said, oh, okay, this is exactly where I need it. Didn't look at the frame rate and it was at 120. So when I played it back, yeah, that was not great. So this is the second attempt. So now I've got a wireless microphone. So I've got the tracking on my eyeball. And so we should be good to go. So let's get back to the topic. Today, we're going to be talking about cameras. And not the spec side of cameras, but that is where this video got its roots. That's where I got the idea. See, there's a lot of videos out there for new cameras because that's how camera companies, that's how they advertise their cameras now. They don't put it in print. They don't, do TV advertising, radio advertising. No, they give their cameras to influencers. Influencers make a video, we see it, and then we in turn go out and buy cameras. Here's the problem. A lot of those videos and a lot of those content creators assume that we are all alike, that we're all in the same boat, and that if they just hit all the highlights with this camera, we'll all just want to go out and buy it because, well, it's just such a great camera. It's got all these great features. Now, that's not the case, and here's why. One, cameras. The reason why we buy them is all the same, but that's about where it ends. So why do we buy cameras? Well, we buy because we want to capture something, whether it's an image or a video. We want to capture that moment. And that's why I've got this camera. That's why I've got these other cameras around me, because we want to capture something. Now, how? How do we want to capture that moment, that video, that photo? That's where it starts to differentiate buyers, because, and I'm going to just reach over here real quick. This camera is a single lens point and shoot camera. It's the Canon V10. Okay. And this is the kind of camera I personally gravitate to most often because I will sacrifice quality as far as image quality. I will sacrifice that for convenience because I want something I can throw in a bag, throw in a pocket, and carry with me. I also have a camera like this. This is a Fujifilm X-S10. Great camera, heavy camera, bigger camera. And so I will take this out for a very specific purpose, but most often this isn't the camera that I want to lug around when I'm going out on a vacation or a trip or out with family. I want something that's convenient, that's not going to take away from what I'm trying to do with the people I'm with. So how you're going to capture that image, that video, is very, very important when deciding which camera is best for you. Now, when? When are you going to be taking this photo, this video? When are you going to be capturing those moments? When matters, because if it's, in the morning, if it's bright outside, well, then you have a lot more latitude when it comes to the type of camera you can use, because the more sunlight you get, usually the better image you have. But smaller sensor cameras, you do have to worry about blowing out highlights and things like that. But for the most part, like action cameras. If you get an action camera, during the day, they work great. But at night, not so great. The newer ones work better, but that's not their strong suit because they have, again, smaller sensors. And so that light is very important when it comes to creating that image on that sensor. So like this, if you're going to use a cell phone at night, that image falls apart and it looks like, well, it doesn't look great. Same thing with a camera like this. Even though it's got a 1-inch sensor, if I try to use this at night, well, it's not going to look great. But if I use my Fuji, which has got a 26 megapixel sensor, and it's bigger, it's an APS-C, I'm going to get a much better result out of that. Not always great, but better than some of these smaller sensor cameras. So when are you going to be taking that photo predominantly? And then where? If you're going to be inside or outside. If you're inside, controlled environment, don't need image stabilization. You can control the lighting. You can control again, getting back to the when, if you're going to be outside, heat becomes a factor, cold becomes a factor. More on that later. But if you're inside, controlling your environment will help control the image and help you produce a better image or better video. So we've talked about how, we've talked about when, we've talked about where. Where also lends itself to weather sealing. Let's not forget about that, because if you're going to be outside, you're going to want a camera that's going to be able to withstand the elements. Also, and not for nothing, if you're going to be outside, you're going to be lugging your camera around. Some cameras are more durable than others. If you've got a camera like this, a gimbal style camera, not very durable. This camera, very susceptible to damage when you drop it. And I've dropped a couple cameras, and I can name them off the top of my head. Both of them are similar. They were point and shoot cameras, and it was very silly how it happened, but it does happen. So when, where, how, now what? What are you going to be doing with that image, whether it's a photo or a video? Because that will determine the kind of camera that you need to look at. For example, this Nikon Z30. If I'm taking a photo with it, I have some latitude when it comes to wanting to crop in and enhance the image, because I can get a raw image out of this. I can get a JPEG. But with this camera, I can only get JPEGs, and because it's a smaller sensor, I can't really crop in. So what I've got, the image I take is pretty much what I've got. I can tweak some of it a little bit, but without the raw data, I can't do a whole lot of pushing and pulling. But conversely, with this camera, because again, I can shoot raw and I get a 26 megapixel image, I can do a lot of post-processing with this. So if my intent is to grab that photo, grab that video, and manipulate it and to edit it, and so I've got more flexibility here than I would with a smaller sensor camera. But here's where it's interesting. What I've noticed in today's camera buyer is that a lot of them are looking for easy, convenient. They're willing to sacrifice that image quality and a lot of other features to get a camera they can just throw in their pocket. Case in point, that Kodak, I think it's a Key Charm something. It just goes right on your keychain. It's wildly popular. It sold out initially. And so it's just a simple point and shoot camera. You can't really do a whole lot with it once you do it. And now cell phones are coming up with apps that help you take that image and make it look like it came from an instant camera, an old point and shoot camera, that disposable camera. And so there's a real big push for that. Even some of the newer cameras, like a Insta360 Go 3S, is taking that camera and turning it into a retro style camera with a different camera housing or a case to make it look more like a retro camera. And then they put a filter in there so that you can make it, look more retro. And so you're taking cameras that provide a very sharp, crisp image, a lot of data, and you're dumbing it down, so to speak, to make it look like it came from a much less expensive, much less feature-rich camera. So again, we're getting back to the advertising where, we got the new Luna Ultra, and it's a $799 camera, and it's got, open gate, this and that, 8K. Let me just throw this out here, 8K. I've got the Ace Pro, shoots 8K. If you don't have the right memory card for that camera, you're not going to record. It's not going to be able to record and write fast enough. It's not going to be able to send it out to your computer fast enough. So the read and write speeds on that SD card, you've got to get the right kind. Otherwise, it's not going to work all that great. It's not going to record it well enough. And then you need a computer, all right, that's going to be able to process it because 8K, that's a lot of data and it's a lot to churn through. And so I remember when I first started recording in 4K, how I had to get a different computer. And so those are ancillary things, but those are things that you need to take into consideration when you're looking at the kind of camera that you're going to buy. Does it have external audio? Is that something that you're going to need? So there's a lot of consideration. So here's the thing. When you're looking at, for example, this right here, a lot of people love this camera. They think it's great. I also think it's great, but there's a learning curve to it. And so there are things you need to take into consideration when saying, oh yeah, this is convenient. This produces great results. This should be everything that I need it to be. But learning how to use a gimbal when you're going to either take photos or videos, learning curve. And then also this particular model, I can't hook in a 3.5 millimeter jack for a plug-in microphone if I don't want to use Bluetooth. I can't do that here. Now you can get a dongle, but I haven't been able to find one that, even though it's a USB-C to 3.5 millimeter, can't find one that'll work. So there are considerations. You can't just go out and watch a video and then watch that influencer say, this camera is great, it's got all these specs, it's a perfect camera. Go out and buy it and then realize it's maybe a perfect camera for somebody, but not for you. I have plenty of cameras that I've done that with, where I've gone out and I've fallen victim to the hype, bought a camera, only to find out that it does not suit my use case and it sits on a shelf. I'll give you a prime example, and then this is where we'll end. Canon G7X Mark III. Right now, they are in high demand. Everybody loves them. Can't get enough of them. They've come out with anniversary editions, special editions, all kinds of stuff to meet demand. I sold mine because even though it's a great camera, I didn't have a use for it. It was bigger than the point and shoot I already had, but it was smaller than a camera like this. And so I get better results from this Nikon. And so I didn't have a need for it. And so even though it's a great camera and a lot of people like it, it wasn't great for me, but I fell victim to the hype. So, hey, just talking about cameras today. And if you like talking about cameras, content creation, gear that goes along with it, and occasionally we talk about running and fitness, then hey, become a subscriber, hit that notification bell so you can be notified when the new videos come out. And if you got value out of today's video, let me know down in the comments. Love hearing from you. Always love the comments. Hey, that's all I got today. Hope you're all doing well, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Take care.